Beautiful. Welcome to another tool review, and this one's special because I don't know why I haven't done a review on this tool yet, but this kind of tool, I've done my past tools of this, but this kind of tool is what actually got me into buying cordless tools, driving in lag bolts back in the day when you had to mount satellite dishes to roofs or to whatever. I was looking around, and everybody was using drills, and they basically came. I was looking at this with an impact driver, and I tested it out, and for sure, and never looked back. As far as driving lag bolts and screws, if you're not using an impact driver, you're working too hard. So Milwaukee comes out every couple of years with a new generation. So obviously I originally bought into, I think it was a rigid or maybe a Makita, but it was a rigid impact. Like maybe the first brushed, gen whatever it was. I think it's probably 10 years ago now, 11 years ago. And then I got into, and then I did some research, and it turned out that Milwaukee had the highest torque. Everybody knows torque was the fun thing. It's what you need to drive in screws, lag bolts. So they had the most. So I Gen 1 fuel, I grabbed it. I think that's probably been 7 years ago now. And picked up the entire kit, and it worked great. And Milwaukee, like I said, comes out with a new version every couple of years. And I think a year or two ago, they came out with the Gen 3 version. Their drill, and their impact, and that's what we're going on with right now. Milwaukee's 2853 Gen 3 fuel impact. Very, very compact, which actually that's the first thing you notice about this tool. How compact it is. This is their M12 version, and you guys can see if I can get a better clear on a video here. So yeah, it's actually snubbier than their M12. This is actually their M12 Surge. It's actually a pretty new tool as well, but it is absolutely get into all the small spaces, and this thing packs a ridiculous amount of torque. I think it's, it may not be the highest. I don't think it's the highest torque from across the entire all brands as far as an 18-volt impact is concerned, but it's got 3,600 RPMs, 2,000 inch-pounds of torque, of fastening torque, which actually it's actually higher than that. I think some channels have done some testing, and it's actually 2,400 inch-pounds of torque. Which if you're looking at, like say I have do I have the Surge around here? I don't think I have the Surge here, but if there's a Surge only has like 450 inch-pounds of fastening torque. So, but it's actually a lot quieter. But this Gen 3 2853, absolute beast for the package you get. It's super, super compact. I have a 5 amp hour battery on it, but if you put like a 2 amp hour battery on it, you're gonna get in all the nice tight spaces, and it's got crazy amount of torque. 4,300 impacts a minute, 480 RPM. So if you're big into RPM, it's not gonna have the most RPMs on the market, but I don't care. I want torque. And 3,600 inch-pounds of nut busting torque, taking things apart, which is fantastic. For a small tool like this, you guys can't. You're not gonna be able to. Milwaukee has it. Their impacts. They lead the market with their impacts, and I'd say drills too. Their drills are phenomenal as well. But what got me into Milwaukee was their impact, because of how much torque and how small a space, and just being able. This is time saver, money maker for sure. 2.3 pounds bare tool, 2.3 pounds, super light. It's not that bad. 7.6 inches tall, and 4.6 inches from the little hex to the back right here. So super, super compact. And let me get the Gen 2 version real quick so you guys can have a little comparison. So you can see, obviously, it's going to be, it's an upgrade, obviously. Very, they have to, if you want to actually buy tools. A lot of tool companies come out with, Gen 2 or Gen 3, the next generation, and it's not that big of a change. And like, I'm not going to upgrade because you put an extra Raptor hook on something, or made it a half-pound lighter or something like that. But this definitely worth it. Absolutely. I'm gonna run some tests. You guys will see here in a second between the Gen 3 and Gen 2, and then I did a couple with just to confirm, just to see the noise difference between the Surge and the Gen 3. Obviously, this is gonna be a lot noisier than the Surge, but it's gonna have way more torque. If you're only doing small screws and like stuff like that, and you're never gonna need crazy torque, I'd say get the Surge. But if you're ever gonna need to drive any kind of 4-inch screw, fencing, lag bolts, anything like that, this is obviously the tool to have for sure. Big kudos to Milwaukee for always pushing the impact. They own the impacts. I have all the automotive impacts. You know, they're 1,500 foot-pound torque impact, half-inch impact. They do have a 1-inch impact that has 2,000 foot-pounds, but that I don't have anything that needs that. So so we'll run some tests real quick. Like I said, you guys, there's nothing I can't say as far as the pros, the size. Fantastic, everything. Ergonomics, I like the grip. It's fantastic. I will say, you know, I prefer, if I'm actually being honest, DeWalt's grip for their impacts. I like it a little more, but this one I've become so used to it. If I'm picking up a different tool, it just kind of feels awkward to me as well. And as far as the things that I don't like about Milwaukee's impacts, I'll say about every one of them. I've warrantied probably a half dozen of them. Eventually the trigger is going to fail. Milwaukee, for some reason, whoever supplies their trigger, it's going to fail where you press it with the battery in and it's not going to work. Or you have to, you know, press it a couple times and for it to even, you know, sense it. So they have no problems warranting out their tools, but again, eventually that's going to fail. Milwaukee, for some reason, all their impacts I've had to warranty them out because of that. So again, for some reason, that's you know, it'd be great not to have that happen, but you know, that's splitting hairs for me because eventually, you know, that's why I have so many of them, because if one breaks down, I send it off. I'm absolutely not, you know, without any kind of tool, without any kind of production. But Gen 3, Milwaukee's 2853, fantastic tool. I highly recommend it. Again, I buy all my own tools, so it's this is not a paid promotion by any means. So let's roll some testing. Like and subscribe if I've earned it. You guys, I'll see you in the next video. All right, what we have here is Gen 2 versus Gen 3, 10-inch lag bolts, half-inch by 10-inch. I did pre-drill these with, I believe, a 23/64 grit just to get them to. Now, obviously, this is not what it's made for. You're not going to really ever use this, but I just want to see how far we get going and get them, see how they compare. So let's get right into it here. So, oh, by the way, these are both the same grading pneumatic with the 3/8 quarter-inch hex adapters. Both batteries are full. Boom, full. There we go, full. All right, let's get into it. You get the point. So not really what they're made for, but more powerful. All right, now we got the Surge, the 2760 M18 Surge versus obviously the Gen 3. We're just gonna do some regular screws. These are Bosch tips, both of them pretty much brand new. So let's see what we got for comparison. See it? Now, just the noise test. Yeah, so see, the Surge is obviously a lot quieter, slower, but a lot quieter. All right, just another test real quick. I just want to show you guys how fast it goes and the noise. And now the Surge. There you go. So obviously, I knew people wanted to see the Surge and how quiet it is compared to it, so.